Okay, so I just got this MSI AMD RX 570 8GB graphics card. It's the MSI Armor variety. It's probably the cheapest one that I've seen. I think I picked it up at like $350 on Newegg. Prices are just out of control right now. But this card can actually do very good. Other cards, similar cards, like a power color of the same variety, goes for about $400. So I'm not really sure, because I don't have one of those, if it's any better than this, but I can tell you right now that this card does very well. Alright, so I'm going to show you today how to get the most out of the card. Now, one of the first things you're going to want to do is remove all drivers that you have of the current card. What you're going to want to do after that is install the beta blockchain drivers, which are specifically designed to do these kind of computations with the card. So what we're going to do first thing is download this display driver uninstaller. I'm going to put the link in the description, and you can just go to that, pick it up. It's very simple to use. It had to close MSI Afterburner in order to function properly, but this is what it looks like here. It's telling me I got my Intel card, Intel graphics built in, my NVIDIA, which is plugged up to my display, and this card, which is just plugged into the motherboard, not connected to any of my displays. So this program is going to remove your drivers for specific style here. I can pick any of these. Intel, NVIDIA, AMD. And this is going to completely remove everything, leave no traces. If you don't do this, a lot of times you can end up with errors. There's a little chunk of something left somewhere, so when you try to install the newer version, you run into an issue and it says it doesn't install properly. So for this one, I would recommend this top one. What's going to happen if you don't do that? It says may cause issues like black screen. Yes, it will. It will cause your screen to go black. It's nothing you can't fix though. All you really have to do is Control-Alt-Delete, go into the task manager, and run a new task, which is Explorer.exe. So let's see if we can show you that real quick. Trying to make a restore point, and it's going to remove all the drivers for this card. So you can start fresh and install the drivers you want. Cleaning registry keys right now. Screen probably about to go black. It's flickering, but hasn't went black yet. It says clean install, clean uninstall completed. Would you like to exit now? Sure, why not? Well, in this case, it actually didn't black the screen, so you got lucky. Otherwise, you would just Control-Delete, like I said, and reopen the Explorer.exe. So, now that all that is removed, I'm just going to go ahead and reinstall the next driver. Okay, so now that you have removed all previous drivers, software, everything related to AMD graphics cards, now you can go to this website here and download the beta blockchain drivers. They, just like it says, beta, they're really not supporting it, but they're supposed to work better for these type of functions. So I already downloaded it, I have it right here. I'm going to go ahead and install. I normally just choose Express. You can probably turn off the audio driver if you don't want that. To me, it's no big deal. I normally skip this. I don't really see a need for it. Basically, what it does is it allows you to play back specific gaming moments. So it's like a recorder for your games. Alright, 17.30.10.10.29. Okay, so don't check this. If you check this, it'll probably just update to the newest version. Leave that blank, and then you're going to click Restart Now. So after you've done a full reboot, if you wanted to, you could try right now and see how your card will mine. Before the beta blockchain drivers, if you just had the stock whatever, you'd probably get about 22 or so, maybe a little bit higher, depending on what you have your clock set. I'm going to use 1150 to 2050 here. Normally you can go a little bit higher, 2100. I don't like to push my cards too hard, but I keep my fans about 70, keeps the core lower. I might lower this a little bit because the core doesn't get too hot. But anyway, so let's test it out now. Right now we just have the beta blockchain drivers and some overclocks on it. The BIOS is still stock. So we'll test it out and see what we get. So all I gotta do is start my little bat file here. I'm gonna go ahead and disable my extra card once it pops. Disabled. It's gonna get set the GPU buffer, and then it should give you a hash rate. This hash rate shouldn't actually be too bad. It should be a pretty good hash rate. But once you edit the BIOS, you can increase it another few megahash a second if you were judging by the ether rate, which is the standard that most people use when they describe a GPU's mining capability. Taking a little bit to show some hash, but in a second you will see. Hopefully. There we go. Found a share. Look at that. Alright, so about 26. Oh, it's crashing on us. Yeah, about 26. I don't know if that's a fluke or what, but yeah, so 26.7, 26.6, and they had this 18.8 here. But anyway, just goes to show you that you can get more out of what your GPU comes with stock. And you don't have to edit the BIOS either. You just have to download the beta drivers and install those. So yeah, it's coming down a little bit. But as you can see, it does help just to do that. But we're going to go a couple steps further because I believe, you know, when you get these cards, you want to get the most out of it that you can without damaging them. And this BIOS method seems to do pretty good. So we're going to shut this down. Seems to work fine. So I'm going to include this link here. This is the link for the specific BIOS. Don't download this unless you have this exact same card with the Micron memory. How do you know it's Micron memory? You download TechPowerUp GPU-z, which is right here. Tells you your memory type right here. See, GDDR5 Micron. So yeah, you're gonna want to get that, find out your memory, and then go to this website here, Anorak Tech, and there you'll see many different BIOS. You do have to make an account in order to download. Basically, you can Google search for your BIOS. It'll most of the time take you to this site. So you'll find most of what you need there. If you don't, then there's an editor that we'll look at later. I just wanted to show you guys this site a little bit. It's a very well put together site with a huge community of people who know what they're doing when it comes to this stuff. If you're looking to me to show you how to edit your BIOS, I'm not the expert here. So I normally just defer to the experts, unless, of course, which in a few cases has happened, there are no good BIOS out there. And in that case, you can edit your own, but it's normally not recommended. So this one here is the one that I chose. It says 4 GB, but I actually took a look at it. It is for an 8 GB card. It's legit. It does work. You know, he says to clock it here, 1150, 2100. I go a little less than the memory clock, but it should work just fine. Now, before you do any of that BIOS installation, you're going to want to make sure you back up your original BIOS in case something happens to your card and you brick it. Soft brick, at least. And normally you can recover that. You just need to load your original BIOS on. So that's going to be something you're going to want to do. You just have to go to this website here, download that file. It's very simple to use. You want to make sure you run it as an administrator. Most of these programs should be run as administrator. Some of them will give you errors, some will work just fine. Anyway, as you can see, it picked up my card, Radeon RX 570, and it sees the BIOS. What I'm going to do is save it. Yeah, so you want to make sure you save the original, otherwise, you know, it could get lost. I actually already saved it, so that's right there. You want to name it accordingly. You want to say original in it. You want to describe the card properly as well, because if you have multiple cards, different brands, manufacturers, memory sizes, you're going to get confused, and you're going to install the wrong BIOS to the card, and that card could get severely messed up. So once you save that, then you can go ahead and use that file that you downloaded and load your image onto the card. If you found the file, that's the way you're going to do it. But we'll go a little bit further, and before we do that, we'll show you guys what Polaris BIOS editor looks like. That's a good program. It's this one here. It's very basic. I'm not an expert on it, but there is a one-click timing patch, so it automatically detects your memory. In my case, it's going to be Micron, and you just click a button, and it's going to patch the memory timings for you and get more out of your card. And you want to, as always, you want to make sure you open it as an administrator. So that's what it looks like right here. We're going to open the BIOS. Which is the original here. And then we're going to do the one-click timing. Very simple. Pretty much you can edit all these values. Actually, it's not going to click any of these. There we go. Is that good now? Yeah, there we go. You can edit all these values here. You can change your voltage. Be very careful with it. I'm not really 100% on how to do it, but the BIOS that I did download actually has a voltage decrease, which will save you some power. But if your BIOS doesn't have that, if that website doesn't have one that you can download that'll help you, you can go ahead and use this one-click timing patch and try to mess with your voltages here, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you really know what you're doing. So you would just hit one-click timing, good Micron timings, 1500 straps, sure. So it changed these bottom ones down here to match the timing for the optimal Micron memory. So then you just click Save As, and in my case, I already did it. It's right here. But like I said, we're not going to load that one. We're going to load the other one because I know it works better. This one is strictly just for those of you that can't find a better one online or really know what you're doing. So cancel. We'll close this out. And okay, so yeah. Alright, so now we're just gonna go ahead and load the BIOS that I downloaded online onto the card. It's a little scary, you know, think about it, but it won't damage the card. I know that because I already tried that. And what I did was I researched a little bit. I looked into like all the comments from other people, and they all seemed to agree that this was the best BIOS out there. When you're making your own, you know, unless you mess with something you're not supposed to, normally you don't mess it up. You know where it came from. You know it's going to match the current one. As you can see, when I loaded in, the image size and this number may differ. But let's see what we got. Yeah, so it may differ a little bit, but I know it works already. So does that mean that's always the case? It's always going to work if it differs? I don't know. But yeah, as you can see here, these numbers are same here. The size is different, and this TRC is different as well, but I think that's taken care of later with the pixel patcher. So all you got to do now is just program this right here, and it's going to flash your card with the new BIOS that you selected or made for yourself. It's going to take a minute or so. Actually, it may take more than a minute, and this seems like exactly what it's doing. And there it is, programmed successfully. Good. I want you to reboot. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes to that. Actually, I think you could probably just leave this here and try to do your pixel patcher right now. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's pull that over for you. This is what it looks like here. The link's going to be here. Pixel patcher. Alright. Once you got that, it's very simple. You just click patch, patch file values. Yes, very simple. Everything's set up, done for you. And then you get this message that says driver successfully patched and signed. So now you won't run into any issues when you reboot and you go into Windows and Windows doesn't see your card, because that will happen if you don't do this step. So make sure after you flash your card, you go ahead and do the pixel clock patcher, okay? Go ahead and click yes, and then we can see how the card works. Okay, so now that you have everything in order, let's run through everything, make sure you got everything. You're going to want to display driver uninstall, download that, remove all your previous drivers. Go ahead and download the beta blockchain drivers, install that. You're going to want to have this, if you don't already, TechPowerUp GPU-z. Get that so you can monitor your card, see what kind of memory type it uses. You're going to want to Google for your BIOS. Most of them come from this site here. Try to download that there depending on the comments to see, which one is the best. And sometimes there'll be multiple. If, download one, maybe try another. Just be careful. Next thing you're going to want to do is save your original BIOS. Before you change anything, save your original in case something happens and you mess up your card. If this website didn't have any of your BIOS, you can go into Polaris and do your one-click timing or edit anything else that you see fit. Next thing you're going to want to do is flash your card with the BIOS that you chose using this ATI ATIFlash program. After you do that, before you restart, go ahead and use AMD ATI Pixel Clock Patcher. That's going to fix a few different things that causes Windows not to recognize your card. After that, if you don't have it already, you're going to want to make sure you get MSI Afterburner so you can overclock your card. I'm going to use 1150 2050. So let's give it a shot, see how the EFA runs. Disable this NVIDIA card from mining. That way you only get the mining from the MSI card. And there we go. Looks like it was going to start off shitty at 21.1, but look at that. Now we have 29.5. This is one of those things you could easily probably hit 30. You just got to clock it up to 2100. But I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll try it real quick, see what happens. So I don't really recommend doing this while you're mining, but I like to live on the edge sometimes. So let's change the clock here. Let's see if the mining jumps. Let's see if we can crack 30 megahash a second. And if you want, you can go ahead and take a look at the sensors here, and that'll tell you what voltage you're running at. Like I said, this one was undervolted for me, this BIOS, so I decided to keep it like that, and it's working out quite good. Power draw is less than what it was before without this, so it doesn't look like we can get to 30 over here. But at the very least, we have 29.5, which is pretty damn good. That'll beat a lot of cards. This is Micron memory, but it's still hashing right there with others. So, yeah, so it works out pretty well this way. I'm going to put all these links in the comment section, the description, and you guys, that way you'll have everything to do exactly what I did here today. Turn this maybe 20 megahash a second card to 29.5 easy. It just took some time, a couple of restarts to your computer, and quite a bit of different programs, but it's actually pretty easy to do as long as you're not overwhelmed from the start.